Alright guys, it's been about a whole year since I made the first Can You Run VR on an RX 580. That video has over 55,000 views. It has until recently been the most viewed video on my channel. So, it's been a year. We gotta do it again, because in the past year, new headsets have come out, new games have been released, and, well, better optimizations for VR have come out as well. So, in today's video, we have an RX 580. Now I know what you're thinking. This looks like a very powerful RX 580, and that's what I thought too, but it actually runs at basically the default boost and base clock of an RX 580, so don't worry, it's nothing special. It's just that the cooling is good on this card, and which I will need because of our new test bench today. As you can see, we do have some special things going on here. So, in today's video, I'll be using this RX 580 in a couple of games on VR to test, can you really run VR on an RX 580? Now, last year I only tested Pavlov and Beat Saber, but this year I'm adding a game that might actually be able to beat this card. Don't forget, last year we're like, hell yes, the games ran great. But this year, Half-Life Alyx came out, and that game is very demanding, so I want to see if this card could run Half-Life Alyx. Now, for my headset this time, unlike last time, I have the Oculus Rift S. The first time I had the Oculus Rift, just the regular old Oculus Rift with the table sensors and everything. This year I have the Rift S. What's the difference? Higher resolution, lower refresh rate. I'm going to say this in advance. The refresh rate of the Oculus Rift S is 80 Hz, meaning that in any game, my FPS will be locked to 80 FPS. Because anything higher or lower, and you'll get screen tearing, and in VR, that is terrible. So just know that if you see my FPS at a consistent 80 the entire time, which it should be if the card is up to snuff, that is good. That is a successful run. Now, I cannot guarantee that my results will be the same for every headset. You will probably have similar results with something like the original HTC Vive. If you're using the Valve Index, I can't guarantee similar results, as it does have a higher resolution and refresh rate. But for the Oculus Rift S, and also, first of all, if you have an RX 580, you're not buying a Valve Index, okay? It's like a $1,500 headset. But this is the point. We do have our RX 580 today, and we're going to be installing it in our test bench. So for the specs, last year they were a Threadripper 2920X and 32 gigs of RAM. This year we have a Ryzen 7 3800X. That's 8 cores, 16 threads, boosting up to 4.4 gigahertz. We do have a stock cooler on, but it'll be fine for these tests. We have 32 gigs of DDR4, 3100 megahertz on this B450 Aorus motherboard, which is actually pretty nice. But we have a special edition this year, as long as I don't break the thing. So in addition to our RX 580, I will also be adding this. This is an NVIDIA GTX Titan X Pascal. Now, you're probably wondering why, obviously. Don't worry, it's just for dedicated recording and coding. Basically, this card is just going to be used to encode/record the gameplay. That is it. Normally, I would do CPU encoding, but I want to have every available resource from our CPU and RX 580 for the gaming experience. So there will be no effect of OBS on the game while encoding with a separate NVIDIA GPU. The NVIDIA Pascal encoder is high quality and is, good enough to make the video look fine, whilst not having any effect on the game. So, without further ado, and again, it will not have any effect, it will not help my other card, it will not do anything. I will have the RX 580 always set as the main card in the system. This is just for dedicated GPU encoding for OBS. But without further ado, let's get into the games and test, can you really run VR on an RX 580, Oculus Rift S edition? Alright guys, so the first game on our list is the classic Beat Saber. Yes, of course, it's going to be Beat Saber. Now, what I know, and you might know as well, Beat Saber is not a very demanding game. I actually fully expect this to be the same as last year, It's updated a few times, but besides that, it should be a similar gaming experience to last time, which was an absolute success. Now, the only difference between this year and last year, I know I'm not directly facing the camera, but it's just how I have my Oculus set up to avoid hitting everything that's in here, which is super expensive. So, last year I played a certain song which was, pretty okay. It was a slower song, which is fine, and I didn't have the mods I have installed today. I have color mods, custom Saber mods, and of course the camera mods so that you guys have a wider field of view than I do, which makes it more palatable to watch. But today we're going with a nice, fast song that is going to really test this GPU if it, again, I think this game is going to be fine. I think we're going to get a constant 80 FPS. Don't forget that's what we're looking for, constant 80. And I think we'll be good. So, I'm going with Megalovania, No Fail Off, Expert Plus. Now that was hard. Now if you're wondering why I look way more sweaty and tired than as if I just did that once, then I would be. English. It's because I did that multiple times until I got it close enough to fully correct, because I kept messing it up when I started recording despite doing good before I was recording, which is stupid. But that's the point. Let's move on to our next game. Alright, our next game is Pavlov VR, which is, if you don't know, it's basically like Counter-Strike, but VR. Now, I will say, the game has gone through a lot of patches since a year ago, and the game is pretty broken right now. So, if I can even get in a game, just keep that in mind. There was all sorts of lag, the game freezing, crashing, all sorts of stuff. Is just, I don't know what's happening right now, but I'm going to try to hop in an online deathmatch and see if we can get some benchmarks going. Fuck you. Using a fucking auto. Fuck yourself. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so is that. What up? What'd you say?
None.
Say you're gonna cry about it? Is that what you're saying? Hey, guys, our teammate's gonna cry about it. Over.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a crybaby bitch in the chat. Over. Imagine using an auto sniper.
Defeat? Motherfucker. Right? Whoever was using it.
Okay, besides the horrible, sad human beings using auto snipers, they suck. I mean, the game ran fine. What do we expect? I mean, these are the same results as last year, but here's where this gets interesting. Our final game that we're going to be moving on to is Half-Life Alyx. Now, this has become one of my favorite games to play right now. It is awesome. The combat is amazing. The scenery is just so great looking, but it's taxing on your system. First of all, 16 gigs of RAM required. I have 32 just in case, but the minimum spec, the minimum slash required, there's no minimum, so it's only required spec, actually calls for 6 gigs of VRAM and an RX 580 slash GTX 1060 6 gig. That's why it says 6 gigs. So an 8 gig 580 is like the lowest spec that the game recommends. Now, I'm going to run it on medium clarity just to give it a solid chance, but let's see, do we have our performance things in the middle of the damn screen? Basically, I'm going to be playing a custom map, which one, I'm going to be playing it on easy, so I don't get shot in the face and die immediately. And of course, we're doing continuous movement and right-handed, and then we're going to start the game with add-ons. So, this is a custom map for the game. The reason I'm not playing the story mode is because there's not really just a good part of the story for me to just hop into and benchmark. But this map kind of encompasses everything. It's got tall buildings, nice scenery, enemies to fight, so everything will be nice. You know, plenty of, I guess you can call it gunfire and stuff like that. So, we are going to be doing a custom map this time. Overcharge. That's the name of the map, Overcharge. I think. Might not be. Okay, so far, it seems that our FPS is nice and smooth looking around. Now, even on my Titan XP, when playing the game through normally, we had a little bit of lag here and there, but ooh, we're starting to see a little bit of that already. Mostly when switching guns was our problem. You know what? I'm going to turn the game down to medium fidelity. Because I think I want to give this card a higher chance. So I'm going to turn it down to medium fidelity. Yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother. As long as these guys don't notice me. Shit. So far, so good with the FPS. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be, you know, particularly terrible, so to speak. Oh, God. Oh, shoot. This game is amazing. You can see why I love it so much. The combat is just awesome. A little bit of lag with the explosion, but honestly, I could expect that. No matter what. Let's get through here. Don't know what I just punched. Alright, here we go. Here's a combat scene. Shit. Last magazine. There we go, we got a grenade. Oh god, that's not good. Shit. Oh, I've been murdered. Something I'd like to point out, guys. I was getting a little bit of lag there, if I'm being honest. As much as I want to recommend this card for this game, I'm gonna change it down to low fidelity, which is the lowest possible setting. Here's the thing with VR games. They don't have a lot of performance settings. Because they're making the games for 4 or 5 headsets total. You know, the Oculus, Vive, Steam, or Valve Index. They don't really have a lot of settings, and again, I don't know if this card is going to keep up. I'm going to change it down all the way to low fidelity, which is the lowest possible setting I can get, and still have the game be medium detail if we got to get through this combat scene. And then I'll decide if we can recommend the card or not. Because if it can't do combat, what's the point in playing a combat game? I mean, it's a story-based game.
3 left.
Shit. That was a waste. There we go. Yeah, I mean, you know what? We're getting a little bit of lag. Maybe you could blame that on CPU, but I think that's definitely the GPU causing it. Damn it. Oh god, there's more than one. Shit, I hit something. Yeah, 1 bullet left. So, I mean, lowest possible settings, maybe. I'm thinking maybe. Let's get through this last combat, and if we have any more lag, I don't know. Not bad. Oh, shoot.
One left.
There we go.
That's it.
Okay. You know what? Here's the deal. Because I don't want to crawl through that. because you actually have to, like, crawl, and I'm not going to do that. So, let's chat. Half-Life Alyx. Maybe. It is the minimum required card, and on low fidelity, even medium, I mean, it recommended high, but I was still getting definitely more lag than I was getting when using, obviously, a better card. I was using a 1080 originally, actually. Maybe, on lowest settings, yes, I could recommend the card. Will it run, and will you be able to get the story and even mostly experience the combat? Yes. Will you get some lag, some stutters? Yes. It really decides, you know, if that's what you want, RX 580 is a great card. But in terms of Beat Saber, Pavlov, and any game that has similar graphical quality to, like, Pavlov, Beat Saber is, like, very not intensive. I noticed recently it's like 0% usage half the time. Yes, this card is great. It works great for VR games. Half-Life Alyx, one of the most detailed VR games that's out right now. On the lower settings, I think you can run it. So, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this video. It's one of my more edited videos where I gotta, like, combine this and that and sync it all up. I hope my mic actually worked, and if it didn't, I'm not recording it again. So, oh well. That's the point. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed. I know this is a sequel to last year's video, but we just added Half-Life Alyx and did a better song. I have the same color hair, if you didn't notice. But that's the point. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And stay tuned for my review of the Oculus Rift S, which I probably will be doing.